morning. Welcome back to the second hour of LoveBabz Love Talk. I'm Babz Rawls-Ivy. I got Ruben Ortiz in the house. Hey, Ruben Ortiz.
What's
Ruben
going on,
Ortiz
man?
is the artistic director for a Broken Umbrella Theater, and they're about to do a thing at for the International Festival of Arts and Idea. It's called The Slice.
We're
Uh,
about to do a thing, Babs. You better correct that. We're about to do a
we're,
thing.
we're about to do a thing called A Slice at next door. We've taken over a pizza house and made it into a theater. Huh, who knew? So
Woo-hoo.
so they're here to talk about it. Here comes Jess Mack now. So they're gonna talk about I don't even know how this all got started, but I want them to tell you the story. I want everybody to listen to the story how this got started because it's going to be the precursor to a bigger production for 2025, which they are diligently working on, I'm sure. And but this has been a wonderful opportunity to watch creativity in action up close and personal. It has been amazing to watch. So Ruben, talk to me. Hey Jess, are you I think Jess is logging in. Hello
I'm
Jess.
having I'm having technical difficulties. Hang on, please.
Listen, I have technical difficulties every day and I do this every day, so don't worry. So
Preach.
Ruben, talk to me first about the creation of a Broken Umbrella Theater Company.
Uh, we started, geez, I'd say we started in New Haven 15 years ago. Originally started with a group of us from Muhlenberg College, me, Ian Alderman, Ryan Gardner, Chrissy, Rachel Alderman, like Chrissy Gardner, Rachel Alderman. It's a cool little tight-knit college group. We're here in New Haven. They want to keep creating theater. I show up, we start doing theater, and that's a wrap. We've been doing it for 15 years in New Haven. And there's a longer backstory, of course. However, just to get to the point of where how we've kind of fallen in love with this city. Um, Ian Alderman's originally from here, and so is Jess Mack. She's an OG New Haven
Mm-hmm.
resident, whom we met later on. But yeah, I rolled up, and New Haven's just a city with full of history, full of diversity, culture, and why not create something? We ran into a gentleman who you may know by the name of Colin Kaplan, who became a friend of ours and a bit of a historian. So we had all these fun stories to tell from New Haven. So we figured, why not, um, you know, give this a try and do this. So we started finding fun, interesting historical stories about New Haven and using that as inspiration. We create original works.
Mm-hmm. And you do them in interesting places. Hey Jess,
Yeah.
unmute yourself.
Yeah, we
I
do.
did it.
We
You
did
did.
it.
Welcome.
Oh, that's Jess. How
Thanks
you
for
doing?
having us.
Good morning.
Good.
So
I would just
Ruben is giving us the rundown on the history of the theater company.
and just
I love it.
yeah, we're talking. I did the quick version, real quick, just so you know. So it's got down to like New Haven, boom, and she just and Babs just asked about doing it in specific spaces. Well, as you know, theater space is hard to come by here in New Haven. So we used what we had, which was amazing technical team, and cool places throughout the city of New Haven. So we used the bridge or the Edgewood Bridge in Edgewood Park, and made a show about a pirate. And we closed it off and created theater spaces inside, underneath that bridge, which was seen with about 400 people free of charge during I think it was that Halloween weekend. So that's someplace we did. We used Lyric Hall for a show about a vaudeville um, murderer, and we even used the Elm Library, and we told different stories in there. So because places are hard to find, we just decided to create places and find amazing spaces, and we have such a great history with that. Well, we've been in Erector Square.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of revitalize these areas, and people see what we do, and they come in, and we help enhance the community theatrically and with space as well. And we're actually trying to do that now with a space we're trying to get open up on there on Fitch and Blake Street, which will be the new umbrella. So like instead of finding spaces, we got a space, and everyone else could come join us.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So just I know you are a New Havener, like you're like me. You
hmm
are born here, grew up here, went to school here.
Not born here, but very shortly after we came here. I'm born in California, just outside of Oakland, and then my family moved here um, for my dad to be a postdoc at Yale, right? But then I went to public elementary, middle school, and high school. Shout out to the original West Hills kids over on Sergeant Drive. If you know, you know. um, and then went away to college. I think funny story is that I almost went to Muhlenberg and would have met these crazy people in college, but I ended up going to school in Rochester, New York, and then found my way back here. And, I think one thing that I certainly didn't know growing up is how much started in New Haven. Just
Hmm.
American history started, like the first paved road, vulcanized rubber. I could literally make a thousand lists of thousands of things that we have created. And so for me, I was like, oh, Broken Umbrella sounds pretty cool. Like, what if we're just doing it about New Haven stuff? Like, literally, we'll never run out of content. And I think too, like for me, the long-term idea is this model of where's the Columbus, Ohio Broken Umbrella, right? What's the history of Columbus, Ohio? What's the history of, I don't know, Norfolk, Virginia? Like, why do we have like all these other cities that have these rich histories? Every city has a rich history. Um, Obviously, I care about New Haven the most, but there's a way to build theater around community in a way that I hadn't seen before, right? There's like community theater, or that my, understanding of community theater growing up in the 80s, which was like, okay, people who are not fully professional actors performing in their hometown, but like the classic sort of like new musicals and things that people want to see, right? It was never like, oh, this is a story about where you come from and the history in which you're standing on. And I think that that's really one of the things that keeps me with Broken Umbrella, keeps me coming back to Broken Umbrella, and keeps me wanting to say, hey, no, 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 we are theater in the community as opposed to a community theater, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. So, so we're working out because I feel like I'm a part of the group now, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
sort
you
of
are.
in the
You're
group.
in. You're in, Babz. Yep.
So, so we're doing this piece called A Slice, and it speaks to the pizza history in this town because this has a very rich, and now we're the pizza capital of the world, of the country, now. But it has a very rich and engaging and enduring pizza story, and people take real sides about this pizza. So tell me about A Slice and the thinking around it.
Um, for the inspiration, I just became artistic director about a couple years already now, and we just come off of COVID, right? So we have the list. Like New Haven has a long list of we can do, like it just said, we can do a show about almost anything here in New Haven. And there came to a part where we had done Rubber Met the Road here in Westville, and I kind of wanted a bigger idea that someone could grasp around, and I was like, pizza, like New Haven and pizza. And then I threw an idea out and Jess ran with it. Like this woman here, they are killing it when it comes to like setting things up, inspire these ideas. So like that's what's great about this company. We throw an idea out and boom, we just went rolling with it. We had an opportunity to meet with Shelley with Arts and Ideas, Ian Alderman and I, and discuss the idea of doing a show. And then we wanted to, we often just kind of do one show and we let it go, but an opportunity to develop was offered. So we're doing it again for this show. We're just going to do a slice, which we'll talk about more in a second. And then in a year from now, we will be giving you the entire pie. That's our goal. So in scholarship
Wow.
and
That's
ideas. Yeah.
so exciting.
That's and
So,
that's
And I think when we were starting to have what we call creative sessions around the show, which is when like our company plus like people who we think are fun and we want them to come be part of our company will come together and just talk about sort of like the what would be more typically the dramaturgy of the show, right? But because our shows are built on the history, right? It's not just like a layer of the show, like a traditional, like, if you do Oklahoma, you're going to find out about that time period, right, in Oklahoma history. But here we're like, okay, the history is sort of like the base layer, right? Our platform that we're standing on. And so we have these creative sessions. So we're learning like the pizza timeline, excuse me, the Babz timeline for New Haven. We're learning a little bit of the layers, right, of the social economic situation in which these time periods existed, right, which also informs it. Like, why did pizza stay for so long? Because it was cheap to make. So it lasted through the recession. It lasted through the big crash. Like, so all of these funny things, right? It's a thing that like you have in multiple different parts of your life, right? The Venn diagram of your life. You have pizza, there's work pizza, there's school pizza, there's family time pizza, there's hanging out celebration pizza. There's so many different pizzas, right? And so then as these creative sessions started to keep going, we were like, oh man, like everybody has a pizza story. And it was so rooted in like family and sharing and I don't know, cultivating a type of community, right? Like the pizza, everyone who works in theater knows what it's like to get fed on a strike or a load in pizza from the closest pizza place to the theater. Like everybody in theater knows what that feeling is like, as does every child in New Haven knows what Nardoni Brothers rectangle pizza tastes like. And then they've been serving that, I think, since the 1980s. Shout out to Miss Daddio at Edgewood School, kindergarten. All right. So like I think that like there's like so many layers to how we involve ourselves with pizza that it came kind of like, well, I guess this is kind of a special thing that we're here sharing this food that isn't necessarily only Italian food, right? I don't think that people think when they think, oh, I'm going to have Italian tonight, they're not thinking about pizza. But it was definitely sort of a direct plucking of that idea from the folks that came over from Amalfi, from Southern Italy, landed in New Haven, and we're like, we got to make something. These people don't know how to eat. And then it's expanded, right? It's expanded to like, we have the New Haven Babz community, and then we also have hundreds and hundreds of pizza shops all over New Haven, right? That have like a version of their pizza that's maybe not the char and the coal, but like it's all part of that story, right? It's all part of pizza, to quote Colin's movie, Pizza, a Love Story, right? It's this very like sort of deep thing. And in these creative sessions, we learned that some people who are not from New Haven or from this area don't really care about pizza in the same way, which is mind-boggling, to be honest with you.
So, Ruben, when
And
did you
speaking
fall in love with pizza? When did you fall in love with pizza?
New Haven pizza
Uh-huh.
or New
New
Haven
Haven
pizza?
pizza.
I used to when I was in college, Ian would bring it in, or we'd come visit, and we'd have
Oh.
the Pepe's clam pie. And then I actually met my wife the first time, the second time for the first time for the second time over a Pepe's clam and bacon. So that's kind of set it for me. Um, and actually, Babz, I want to ask because Jess was talking about the creation process. How's your experience being in it? Like, what is your story from the inside? We're kind of
Oh,
outside watching.
I love it.
What is it?
Y'all, I'm so grateful y'all gave me some lines. But I spend so much time watching y'all create, I forget I'm in it. I was like, oh, I'm in this. I gotta pay attention because I'm so engaged by the story, like expected, like I'm the audience. So I'm watching and I'm like, wow, they're really good. Like, oh, I love this. I love that. And then I was like, oh yeah, I have some lines. I gotta step in here and remember that I'm actually in this thing. I'm not the audience. But it has been it is fascinating to me to be on the inside and watch y'all work. And y'all work so well together. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like watching a big marriage, like a very big, good marriage, and like y'all are all married people because you have a language and a rhythm to yourselves. And it's just so beautiful to watch the creative process, and then y'all are really silly, like you're really, really funny and silly and quirky, and even just your kids are like that, and I was
Yeah, my
like,
kids, yep. Otto being in the show is the first time. So this is a big first for this show is that we've actually I think Lucy, who is Ryan and Chrissy's child, Lucy was in one of our shows a while ago, but not really. Like she was
She did
doing part
stilts.
of like our gala or anti-gala or whatever we were calling it. But this is the first show that we've had two kids of Broken Umbrella members. So my child Otto and Ian and Rachel's child
And we also, I
Jonah.
mean, real quick, we
So
also have Remy, who's been with us since I even know
since
how,
she was Otto's age,
and
wow.
now
is wild. Yeah.
Now she's going to graduate school and she's in this show.
Wow.
Hmm.
That is crazy, crazy, crazy. I love that though. All right. So Jess, our task is tasked with writing this thing. And you all are you what you have done was you've taken a particular family and wrote a story about them and gave us a sense of what it was like when they arrived and how they survived and sustained and how the business gets handed down through the ages. And I think people will figure out how to I think people will figure out the story. I mean, I think if you're a pizza lover, you will figure out, this is about a particular family. The names have been changed to protect the
Yeah.
innocent, I guess.
I do say it's kind of inspired by a bunch of different families. So
Yes,
there's definitely
inspired.
Yeah.
I like that.
there's stories
Inspired.
from different. There's so many. So we know some of the popular stories, and those are kind of inspired this. Like I don't think we took one directly, but there's definitely bits and pieces of multiple Beats families in New Haven and just restaurants in general, pizza restaurants in general that are their stories are told with this. We're inspired
And
by it.
and you and you're doing it in a pizza restaurant, like an honest to God working pizza
Yes.
restaurant, which I still don't know how this is going to work, but you're doing it, and you're doing it at Next Door. Talk a little
So
bit about that decision.
Well,
one
one of
of
the
the
decisions, you
biggest
want to go first,
things
Jess? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just cut you off.
No, go.
So, in our creative sessions early on, we sort of really got attached to the sensory input from being in a pizza
Yep.
place, right? Or just with pizza in general. So, like, we're like, oh, what does it sound like always in a pizza restaurant? What does it smell like, right? And I feel like
Smell.
being in a New Haven, a Beats place, that smell is so part of the thing. And I was like, well, we got to have people making pizza all the time. Like, it just has to be part of the show. And we're like, okay, how do we do that? We've never performed in a space where people were doing a whole job. I mean, I think the closest we got is we did a show called Scene Change with the Schubert, and we traveled from the Taft to the Schubert, and the poor, unsuspecting, innocent folks that lived at the Taft had to be privy to our shenanigans while they were just trying to get to their apartment because we were performing in their atrium. So I think this is the closest. We've sort of leveled up. Now we're like, hey, what are the, so we got pizza makers in the back who are all on board. So they're saying Doug is on board. We said, hey, let's do something in a pizza shop. Who do we know that has a pizza shop that would maybe be willing to play? And I feel like it was Ian. Somebody had this idea, like we should talk to Doug. Doug's a
Yeah,
big supporter of the festival. He's really cool. He's been friendly to other theater companies in the past. We love the big green pizza truck. We love Next Door as a general thing. We're like, this guy is not necessarily Italian, but he's got a beats going on. And then I think you guys met with him and
we met with him and he just, he had stories of his own that he was interested in letting us know. Um, and he's that gentleman is full of stories and he opened his doors to us. Like there's two spaces, like you will not be in one space the entire time when you come to this piece. Like we like to move people. So we'll be moving people from one room to a next for this experience and him offering, I mean, even during rehearsals, he'll come up and offer ideas and suggestions. He's been such a wonderful host, and just to open his restaurant up for us, which will still be in business actually. So for while our
Yeah.
show's up, things will still be going on. I think he's gonna maybe hold like the deliveries and pickups for a half hour because that may be awkward if you're an Uber person walking in the middle of your scene, But other than that, I think it's kind of a little, like I said, we like silliness anyway, so it works out for us. And having this space and having Doug's generosity really, 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 really helped us. Yeah.
So in
for
talking
sure.
about the silliness, y'all have the regicides, which is within of at least under the broken umbrella.
I love
Did
that.
did the regicides come shortly after the makings of a broken umbrella theater? Because it's improvisation, which y'all are the most funniest and wittiest people I've ever seen. And I enjoy it. And you have some performances coming up shortly, right? Like you got a whole stack of
Yes.
performances coming up. Talk to me about how that came to fruition.
Well, for the original, like when we first started Broken Umbrella, it started with a improv comedy troupe with me and again Ian Alderman, Ryan Gardner, and a few other friends called Uninvited Guests. And so we started with improv, and then when we moved to New Haven, Broken Umbrella, we started rocking out these plays, but there came to a part where there's these lulls in terms of the artistic creative energy that's being spread. So I think it was kind of like a consensus, like we need an improv comedy troupe. So like Mr. Matt Gaffney took the helm, Ian, Ryan, myself, Jess. I mean, we have a Lou Mangini. We get a whole crew come in, and now Tuesday nights is like a thing where we just get together and do improv jam and work and practice on the craft. And then during COVID, we even did it on Zoom. And there was a part where we're like, all right, we should start doing shows. So at our space, so we opened up the garages so we could have an open air space. So we perform inside, audiences outside, and now it's kind of become a thing for the last 4 years, 5 years. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Son.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe. And because Ryan Gardner can't quit, he can't be stopped, folks. Ryan Gardner, hardest working man in New Haven. He has created a second space. We have two big garage doors. We have our performance space with the people outside watching. Now we have a second space that is going to house special musical guests throughout our summer series. So you come early, you listen to some sweet music, get yourself a beverage. We have some great donors that work with us all the time. Black Hog Brewing is like one of our OG supporters. And then, so yeah, we're just layering up. We can't do anything small. I just want you to know, I don't know if you knew this, Babz, but when we first started talking about the show, I told Eric Isaacs, we're going to have 5 people in this cast. You want to know how many people are in the cast? 14.
Wow.
Because we can't stop sometimes. We just get on a roll
and it
with an
probably would be
idea.
more if other people had more time. Like it probably would be
Yep.
more people if you allowed it, right? Like it's
Yep.
like, oh my God. So tell me about the name Regicides. What's the origin?
Well, like I said, since we're based in New Haven history, if y'all ever been to either Whaley Ave or Dixwell Ave or Gough, those are the 3 judges from Britain who sentenced King Charles I to death, amongst another list of judges. And when King Charles II ascended the throne, he said, "Cool, I'll be king if you let me get everybody who sentenced my father to death." So these judges who killed the king, hence regicides, if you're a king killer, hid in the hills of New Haven, Hartford, in this area. So yeah, based off of the history of Whaley, Gough, and Dixwell. And again, it's what is it called? It's what's that rock called on East Rock, on West Rock?
West Rock.
West Rock is the regicide.
Judges'
Three
Cave.
judges.
The
Yeah,
3
the judges'
judges.
Yeah, that's the
cave.
Judges' Cave.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That I like the way that you are it feels like I'm being taught something. You know, even just by the name itself. You know what I mean? Like I like
Yeah.
that kind of learning.
And
So I feel like
I think we like it too. Like we find the learning and we're inspired by it, but we're not gonna hit you over the head with it, Like have you question. Like you're asking us the questions and we know the answers, but you've already been inspired by the name. When you hear about pizza, what about New Haven pizza? What's this thing? Amalfi. What happened in Amalfi? And then you'll want to find, do some research and learn more about your community. And that's something I think that we do pretty good at in inspiring folks just to ask more about the city and what we're presenting. Yeah.
So when you get this permanent space that you're building out, that's going to, which is this is such a good use of space, and it's in such a good location. And I just love, I've been in the space and I just love it. Will you still have opportunity to do your quirky little, do the quirky, we're going to be somewhere, because you were at a garage, like across the street, like you did a whole thing at a garage. And I
I
mean,
think that is
does that still happen anymore if you get a
yes.
designated hard space?
It does, but this gives us a
Okay.
space to
Okay.
rehearse. It gives us a space to collaborate, and it gives us an opportunity to open doors for other artists and the greater New Haven theater community to have a space to perform in. We're good at going around and finding spaces. That's our niche. We'll continue to do that, but to always know that we have a home and that we can offer a home for other artists again in the city. Why not? And that's kind of our main goal, to have a space for everyone. because we were, we're like the traveling nomads. We go everywhere. We do the thing, and we still will continue to, because why not? We're Broken Umbrella Theater, right?
So you're doing the slice, and I believe it's the 18th and the 19th of June. I think those two nights.
Correct.
People can get tickets, go to a Broken Umbrella website, or go to it's up on the Arts and Ideas roster calendar of events and all their stuff, because it opens Arts and Ideas opens in 3 days, formally opens in 3 days. So Jess, are you writing this now, and then are you thinking about, oh, it's sold out? Oh, thanks, Harry. Harry said it's sold out.
That is correct. We
Okay,
are
well,
sold
I'm
out.
gonna stop telling people then, because
No,
then I'll.
but thing is, this is what we're trying to let folks know. Like, this is the developmental piece. So like, this is the previews, right? We got another show in a year. So keep supporting us so we can keep making this happen. So you can still go on online. If you can't buy a ticket to the show, feel free to donate to us and to the cause. And also come see our summer series of Regicides performances as well. So, we can't stop, won't stop. And there is a wait list just in case,
So when you do this a slice, and you get people excited about the bigger production in 2025, does this be part of that? Like, do you fold that in, or do you come at it from a different angle? Like, because now the door is open, and you could go in any direction at this point. Do you think about that,
That's
Jess?
true.
Like, do you say like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
okay, let me tell more of this story or that story, or I mean, we have dancers and a whole dance sequence in this thing,
Yep.
and
we are having a talk back so
and a
far.
world-class song in this thing, and I mean, it's just
Yeah, I think one of the reasons we kind of formulated this experience the way we did is to have a time after the show, after the performance, there'll be like a panel discussion, talk back, kind of a time for folks that are seeing the show to reflect on what they've seen, what sticks with them, what is something that they perhaps were interested in but we didn't say enough of. Those kind of things where it's like, okay, let's have the audiences that we do have come see us and share with us their experiences so that we can decide, like, do we really want to see more of this family? I mean, I think that we are committed to showing family and generational ownership of pizza shops, because that feels very uniquely specific to New Haven of Beats. But I think you are right. Like, we could just kill all these babies and then just have a whole different show, which is crazy. But like, we've done crazier things, and I think it's about why it feels so like prescient every time we do a show, is because we're in this moment right now, right? And like, we had no idea we were going to be crowned the pizza capital of the United States when we started this process. So this is just like, what's happening? What's this magnetic energy around pizza? And now we're throwing down with Staten Island. I don't know if you've seen, Colin's really coming hard on Staten Island, which, to be fair, no hate for Staten Island, but like, really, this is the hill you're going to die on? Pizza? I don't think that's your thing.
Come on.
But yeah, so I think it's so after the show, we've got another development period. So we're going to be doing more creative sessions, more sort of response sessions. And I think that our goal, the loose goal right now, is to be able to have more feedback sessions too with different audiences in New Haven, right? Because obviously at X amount of dollars per ticket for 2 shows only, that's capturing a very specific subset, right, of humans that have pizza experiences. So like, in my mind, we're going to be going and partnering with Honda at the Shack, who has always been supportive of us. We can, there's so many different locations that we can support and be part of in New Haven, that we can gather more pizza stuff, right? The sort of magical stuff that makes us all be like, ooh, I want to know about that pizza family or that pizza story. And I don't know. I think that's the next step for the pizza show, is to see what we get from the talk back and where we're going to take it next.
And the thing that I am we have like a few more minutes, but the thing that I find most impressive is that this is not a 2-hour play. A slice is not 2 hours. It's not even an hour, right? Or something around like what? Like, it's a very tight amount of time that you pack full of history that expands across some ages, right? Like across some time. Like you're not just in one time period, you're jumping across, from World War I, World War II to present, well, like the 90s or something. Like
Mhm.
that's crazy. I
We
mean,
love to time travel.
that's a crazy kind of thing. And you do it under an hour, right? Like I don't know if I'm sure you've timed it, but
Hmm.
people are not going to be sitting there for 2 hours. It's not a 2 hour show.
And a slice is more of an experience. So we have a Colin Kaplan coming in and talking, giving us a brief little background on New Haven of Beats, and then we'll move you in to see our little portion of the show that you're in, of course, and then we'll move after that again to enjoy some next door beats and discuss the show and get feedback from the audience. So it's going to be it's a whole experience that'll help further the development going into the next year.
I love it. It's exciting. I love this cast. I mean, you've got some world-class folks in this thing. It's just amazing to sort of watch y'all work and to see people come together. I mean, even the little kids are like, I'm like, these are honest to God theater kids. Like I mean, they have their own little egos and demands I'm like,
Ideas. They have ideas for other
ideas,
actors in
I
the
mean,
space.
and they are witty, like, I was like, these little kids are, I want this for every little kid. Like, I want every little kid to have this kind of level of unabandoned creativity where adults are not like, sit down, you're like, okay, yeah, what you got, kid? What you got? And
Yeah, I would
it's
say that's like a
fun.
part of us, as you know, Babs. We're just like, what do you think? And we expect people to just sort of tie in and say their opinions. And also, I think we're a space where people are allowed to maybe not um, have the best idea the first idea they had, right? We sort of rely on each other in that way of saying like, okay, I mean, you've been in the room, Babs, when Ruben and I were like, okay, this is probably the wrong thing, but let me say it to you so that we can see if we can get to the right thing, right? Let me say all the bad ideas because it's about that process, getting your mind to be sort of like lubricated and limber in order to come up with an idea that actually is the mind meld of the room, of the story, of the piece of theater that you're making.
Yeah, it's great. I love watching you work. It's amazing to watch you work. I wish you could run the country because y'all would get it done for real. Like you would get us out of a lot of mess and you would do it with great grace, style, and humor. So I enjoy being in the room and I'm honored to just be, on the scene. Just
We're
I don't care.
happy to have you, just so you
I
know.
didn't have to say nothing, Jess. You could have just let me walk through with a tray and I would have been very, very happy, because I would have been in the space in the moment. So thank y'all for the opportunity to let me come out of my own comfort zone and spend some time with y'all. So I can't wait.
I'm excited. I'm super
I'm
excited.
excited. I'm excited.
It's gonna be a
Thank y'all
crazy
for coming
weekend.
on this morning. I loved you on Channel 8. They didn't give you enough time to talk, but I give you enough
Never
time
do.
to talk. I give you enough
I'll
time
be
to
on
talk.
with Colin on Friday morning.
Okay, and Lou and
Well, and you have Lou, so it's a double feature. You got Lou, and then on here, and then I'll be with Colin on WTNH.
oh, that'll be fun.
I think
That
Lou is our resident Italian in the
Yes,
company. I'm not sure
he's
we
gonna
have.
bring me the history of of what is happening and what this means to the Italian community. So listen, I've learned a thing or two. So I'm even how to pronounce the beats, like
Yep.
I just know it now. So it's in me. So thank you, Jess Mack. Thank you, Ruben Ortiz.
Thank you.
I,
Mwah.
I
Thanks,
will see
Babz.
y'all in rehearsal.
You know
All
it.
right.
Don't be
See you
late.
on
Okay?
stage.
Thank y'all so much. Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye bye. Okay, Harry, we're out.